Good morning to all. So in our last class, we discussed regarding the classroom activity 3, which is an extract from Graduation by Maya Angelou. So today, we had focused on the first chapter in this module, which is A Hanging by George Orwell. So before that, we had focused on some important aspect in the textbook point of view. So in the page number 89 from the textbook, we have some important concept that we have to keep in mind. So the difference between the terms subject and object in theory can be understood on the basis of who has the power of agency and on whom it is exercised. So this is basically regarding the concept of this subjectivity, basically the subject and object. So here the subject is the power of agency or the authority, and secondly it is the object in which on whom it is exercised or it is imposed. So that's regarding the concept of this subjectivity, the object and subject. And also regarding the excerpt from Roy and Angelo, which means the first classroom activity and third one, we can clearly find who is the subject and the object are. So basically regarding the classroom activity 1, which is based on the Arundhati Roy's God of Small Things, the power of the authority is the upper class, whereas the object or the on whom it is exercised is the subordinate group or the lower caste in the God of Small Things by Arundhati Roy. And whereas in Graduation by Maya Angelou, which is the third classroom activity, it is based on the discrimination of whites over the black. So that's regarding the concept of this subjectivity. So the subjectivity empowers, as you can see from all these kinds of examples. Then the fact that certain social groups or categories are excluded from the privileges of language, knowledge, material wealth or high culture and mainstream local spaces is reflected in this test. So basically it is clear that the kind of this culture or the kind of this mainstream social spaces, which means that domination of the upper class or the kind of this whites over the lower class or the subordinate groups, so it is clearly present in this classroom activity 1 and classroom activity 3, which means that the Arundhati Roy's God of Small Things and the Maya Angelou's Graduation. So it is very important in order to get a clear idea regarding the subject and object in these two works. So that's why we use the term discourse rather than the statement to show how meaning is political and that power, knowledge and language are interconnected. So here we have another concept, which is the discourse. So this concept of this discourse is related to the French philosopher who is Michel Foucault. So regarding the concept of this discourse, which was defined by Foucault, it refers to the ways of constituting the knowledge together with the social practices, forms of subjectivity and power relations which inhere in such knowledges and relations between them. The discourses are more than ways of thinking and producing the meaning. They constitute the nature of the body, unconscious and conscious mind, and emotional life of the subjects they seek to govern. A form of power that circulates in the social field and can attach to strategies of domination as well as those of resistance. Then Foucault's focuses upon questions of how some discourses have shaped and created the meaning systems that have gained the status and currency of truth and dominate how we define and organize both ourselves and our social world. And also, the other alternative discourses are marginalized and subjugated, yet potentially offers the sites where the hegemonic practices can be contested, challenged, and resisted. He has looked specifically at the social construction of madness, punishment, and sexuality. In Foucault's view, there is no fixed and definite structuring of either social or personal identity or practices, as there is in a socially determined view in which the subject is completely socialized. Rather, both the formation of identities and practices are related to or are a function of historically specific discourses. So, regarding the Foucault's discourse analysis, it is focusing on the power relationships in society as expressed through the language and practices. Regarding the Michel Foucault, he was a French philosopher, historian of ideas, writer, political activist, and literary critic. Then Foucault's theories primarily address the relationship between power and knowledge and how they are used as a form of social control through the societal institutions. Though often cited as a post structuralist and also as a postmodernist, Foucault rejected these labels. His thought has influenced academics especially those working in communication studies, anthropology, psychology, sociology, criminology, cultural studies, then literary theory, feminism, Marxism, and also the critical theory. So, in a very simple sense, the concept of this discourse it helps to show how meaning is political and that power, knowledge, and language are interconnected. An example is the commercials on the cosmetics. So, these advertisements set out to establish the concept of beauty as belonging to a dominant culture. And the term discourse was first used by the French philosopher who is Michel Foucault, and he used this term to describe the interdependence of meaning systems, language, social power, and knowledge. So, this is about the concept of this discourse. So, basically, Foucault used the concept of this discourse to describe the interdependence of meaning systems, language, social power, and knowledge. So basically, here we have an example for the discourse, which is the commercial on the cosmetics. സോ ഇവിടെ നമുക്ക് നോക്കാനുള്ളത് ഡിസ്കോഴ്സ് എന്ന കോൺസെപ്റ്റിൽ എപ്പോഴും ഡോമിനൻ കൾച്ചറിനാണ് എപ്പോഴും ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻസ് കൊടുത്തിരുന്നത്. ഹെജിമണി എന്ന കോൺസെപ്റ്റ് പറയുന്ന പോലെ തന്നെ അതായത് കോമൺലി അക്സെപ്റ്റ് ആയ കൾച്ചറിനെ എപ്പോഴും അതിന് ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻസ് കൊടുത്തിട്ട് അത് നല്ല രീതിയിൽ അവതരിപ്പിച്ചിട്ട് എപ്പോഴും വ്യൂവേഴ്സിൻ്റെ അറ്റൻഷൻ കിട്ടാൻ വേണ്ടിയാണ് ഇത്തരത്തിലുള്ള ഒരു അഡ്വർടൈസ്മെൻറ്റിൻ്റെ ഒക്കെ ഒരു ലക്ഷ്യം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. So that's regarding the concept of this discourse. So here in the textbook we have an activity regarding the commercial. So the commercials of the cosmetics which exalt the fair skinned, and also these advertisements set out to establish the concept of the beauty endorsed by the dominant culture. സോ ഇവിടെ നമുക്ക് നോക്കാനുള്ളത് ഒരു അഡ്വർടൈസ്മെന്റിനെ പറ്റിയാണ്. സോ ബേസിക്കലി അഡ്വർടൈസ്മെന്റിൽ കാണിക്കുന്നത് നമുക്ക് മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് അതൊരു ഡോമിനന്റ് കൾച്ചറിന്റെ ഒരു ആക്സെപ്റ്റൻസ് ആണ് നമ്മൾ നടത്തുന്നത് ശരിക്കും പറഞ്ഞാൽ. സോ ആസ് ആൻ എക്സാമ്പിൾ ഫോർ ദി ഡിസ്കോഴ്സ് വി ഹാവ് an example which is an advertisement which is given in the textbook. So one thing that we have to keep in mind is that all these kinds of advertisements set out to establish the concept of the beauty endorsed by the dominant culture. So this means that the kind of this dominant culture in society, it is a kind of commonly accepted kind of this culture in the society. So this is also related to the concept of this hegemony, in which the hegemony is the power of the ruling class to convince other classes that their interest are the interest of all. അതായത് ഒരു കോമൺ ഇൻട്രസ്റ്റ് എന്ന രീതിക്ക് അവതരിപ്പിക്കുന്ന ഒരു അവസ്ഥയാണ് എപ്പോഴും ഹെജിമണി എന്ന കോൺസെപ്റ്റിൽ നമ്മൾ നോക്കിയിട്ടുണ്ടായിരുന്നത്. സോ സെയിം കോൺസെപ്റ്റ് ആണ് നമുക്ക് ഇവിടെയും ഡിസ്കോഴ്സിൽ വരുന്നത്. സെറ്റ് ഔട്ട് ടു എസ്റ്റാബ്ലിഷ് ദി കോൺസെപ്റ്റ് ഓഫ് ദി ബ്യൂട്ടി എൻഡോസ്ഡ് ബൈ ദി ഡോമിനന്റ് കൾച്ചർ. സോ കോമൺലി അക്സെപ്റ്റ് ആയിട്ടുള്ള അല്ലെങ്കിൽ സൊസൈറ്റിയിൽ എപ്പോഴും ഡോമിനന്റ് ആയി നിൽക്കുന്ന ആൾക്കാരുടെ അവരുടെ ഒരു കോൺസെപ്റ്റാണ് എപ്പോഴും നമുക്ക് അഡ്വർടൈസ്മെന്റ് കാണാൻ പറ്റുക. സോ അത് നമ്മൾ ആക്സെപ്റ്റ് ചെയ്യുന്ന ഒരു അവസ്ഥയാണ് എപ്പോഴും അഡ്വർടൈസ്മെന്റ് ഒരു വിജയം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. So basically this means that this is a kind of example for the discourse in which the advertisements set out to establish the concept of the beauty endorsed by the dominant culture. So here in the textbook page number 90 we have an ad that we have to watch. So after that we get a clear idea regarding the concept of this discourse. So after watching this advertisement it is clear that they are trying to establish the beauty endorsed by the dominant culture. So ഇത്തരത്തിലാണ് ഒരു അഡ്വർടൈസ്മെന്റ് വർക്കൗട്ട് ആവുന്നത്. So it was Michel Foucault, the French philosopher, who used the term discourse to describe this interdependence of the meaning system, which includes the language, then social power and knowledge. So that's regarding the concept of this discourse that we have to focus on. So now we have the story which is the George Orwell's A Hanging. So today we have to focus on the author's details, who is George Orwell, and also an introduction for this story. George Orwell was a novelist, essayist and critic best known for his novel which includes Animal Farm and 1984. He was a man of strong opinions who addressed some of the major political movements of his times, including imperialism, fascism, and communism. And regarding his family and early life, Orwell was born Eric Arthur Blair in Motihari, India on June 25, 1903. The son of a British civil servant, Orwell spent his first days in India, where his father was stationed. His mother brought him and his older sister, who is Marjorie, to England about a year after his birth and settled in Henley on Thames. His father stayed behind in India and rarely visited. His younger sister, who is Avril, was born in 1908. Orwell didn't really know his father until he retired from the service in 1912. And even after that, The pair never formed a strong bond. He found his father to be a dull and conservative. Orwell took up writing at an early age, reportedly composing his first poem around age 4. He later wrote, I had the lonely child's habit of making up stories and holding the conversations with imaginary persons, and I think from the very start my literary ambitions were mixed up with the feeling of being isolated and undervalued. One of his first literary successes came at the age of 11 when he had a poem published in the local newspaper. So, this is regarding the family and early life of George Orwell. So, basically, regarding George Orwell, he was a novelist, essayist, and critic, and also he is best known for his novels, which includes The Animal Farm and 1984. The another important thing that we have to focus on is that he was a man of strong opinions who addressed some of the major political movements of his times, which includes the imperialism, fascism, and communism. Then, regarding the education of George Orwell, after completing his schooling, George Orwell found himself at a dead end. His family did not have the money to pay for a university education. Instead, he joined the India Imperial Police Force in 1922. After 5 years in Burma, Orwell resigned his post and returned to England. He was intent on making it as a writer. Then, regarding the early writing career of George Orwell, after leaving the India Imperial Force, Orwell struggled to get his writing career off the ground and took all sorts of jobs to make ends meet, including being a dishwasher. Down and Put in Paris and London in 1993, which is the Orwell's first major work, explored his time eking out of a living in these two cities. The book provided a brutal look at the lives of the working poor and of those living a transient existence. Not wishing to embrace his family, the author published the book under the pseudonym as the George Orwell. Then, regarding the Burmese days in 1934, Orwell explored his overseas experiences in this book, which is the Burmese days, which offered a dark look at British colonialism in Burma, then part of the country's Indian Empire. Orwell's interest in political matters grew rapidly after this novel was published. Then George Orwell as a literary critic and BBC producer. To support himself, Orwell took on various writing assignments. He wrote numerous essays and reviews over the years, developing a reputation for producing well crafted literary criticism. In 1941, Orwell landed a job with the BBC as a producer. He developed news commentary and shows for audiences in the eastern part of the British Empire. Then Orwell drew such literary greats as T.S. Eliot and E.M. Forster to appear on his programs. Then now we have to focus on George Orwell's most famous books. Regarding the most famous books of George Orwell, we have to focus on two important works. The first one is Animal Farm and second one is 1984. So both these books published toward the end of Orwell's life has been turned into films and enjoyed the tremendous popularity over the years. Then we have to focus on the Animal Farm in 1945. So, Animal Farm was a anti-Soviet satire in a pastoral setting featuring two pigs as its main protagonists. These pigs were said to represent Joseph Stalin and Leon Trotsky. The novel brought Orwell great acclaim and financial rewards. So, this is about Animal Farm, which was published in 1945. So, it was an anti Soviet satire in a pastoral setting featuring two pigs as its main protagonist. Then we have the 1984, which was published in 1949. So, Orwell's masterwork, which is the 1984. So, this is the master work of George Orwell and which was published in the late stages of his battle with tuberculosis and soon before his death. This bleak vision of the world, divided into three oppressive nations, stirred up controversy among the reviewers who found this fictional future too despairing. In the novel, Orwell gave the readers a glimpse into what would happen if the government controlled every detail of a person's life, down to their own private thoughts. So that's regarding the 1984. It is the masterwork of George Orwell. Now we have to focus on the essays by George Orwell. So the first one is Politics and the English Language. So this was published in April 1946 in the British literary magazine which is Horizon, and this essay is considered as one of the most important works on style. Then we have the Shooting an Elephant, which is second essay, Shooting an Elephant. So this essay published in the literary magazine, which is the New Writing in 1936, it discusses the Orwell's time as a police officer in Burma, which was still a British colony at the time. So that's regarding the Shooting an Elephant. Then regarding the end of his life, near the end of his life, Orwell proposed to editor Sonia Brownell. He married her in October 1949, only a short time before his death. Brownell inherited Orwell's estate and made a career out of managing his legacy. Then, regarding the death, so Orwell died of tuberculosis in a London hospital on January 21 in 1950. Although he was just 46 years old at the time of his death, his ideas and opinions have lived on through his work. So that's regarding some important details about George Orwell, who is the one of the most important writer that we have to focus on here. So the time period of George Orwell was from 1903 to 1950. So he was a novelist, essayist, and critic best known for his novel which includes The Animal Farm in 1984. Then he was a man of strong opinions who addressed some of the major political movements of his time, which include the imperialism, fascism, and communism. Then regarding the two important works of George Orwell, which includes The Animal Farm in 1945 and then 1984, which was published in 1949. So that's regarding some important details of George Orwell. In short, George Orwell was an English novelist, an essayist, journalist, and critic. Then he was a writer with awareness of the social injustice. And also, he is world famous as the author of Animal Farm. So, The Animal Farm is one of the most important work by George Orwell. So, now we had to focus on the work which is the hanging. So, the introduction for this work. Basically, this is a story that we had to focus on under this module, which is the literature and ideology. So, regarding the work which is A Hanging, which was published in 1931, it is a short essay written by George Orwell, which was published in August 1931 in the British literary magazine and set in Burma, where Orwell, under his real name, which is Eric Arthur Blair, had served in the British Imperial Police from 1920 to 1927. It describes the execution of a criminal. So that's regarding a quick overview of this work, which is A Hanging by George Orwell. So today we discussed regarding the concept of this discourse by Michel Foucault. Then we discussed regarding the first chapter, the introduction for the first chapter, the author's details, who is George Orwell, and also an introduction for this chapter, which is A Hanging. So that's for today. Thank you. Happy learning.